progressive movement owed much to the writers and journalists known as muckrakers, a new and powerful voice for reform. Among their many contributions, nothing had a greater impact on public policy than Upton Sinclair's The Jungle, a staggering and nauseating description of the meatpacking industry.
There were cattle which had been fed on the refuse of the breweries and had become covered with boils. It was a nasty job killing these, for when you plunged your knife into them, they would burst and splash foul-smelling stuff into your face.
The passage of the Pure Food and Drug Act and the Meat Inspection Act is a great illustration of how progressivism succeeded because it was able to galvanize the American population as a whole.
I aimed at the public's heart, and by accident, I hit it in the stomach.
That power of publicity that the muckrakers beautifully mobilized was the way in which progressives got enough Americans focused on this issue that corporations that didn't want to change, powerful meat packers and others, drug companies that didn't want to have to give up their freedom, finally came to the conclusion that they'd better settle.
Muckrakers did not play a part in stirring up America's social conscience.
However, muckrakers' intensive zeal resulted in fair meetings of information, influential people supporting reform, and successful unions and strikes for workers' rights.
Therefore, muckrakers did enact social change in America.
So here we have Mr. Lincoln Stephan, the famous muckraking author of the classic The Shame of the Cities that I have here. Now in this, Mr. Stephan, you are quoting Theodore Roosevelt, saying that now it is very necessary that we should not flinch from seeing what is vile and debasing. There is filth on the floor, and it must be scraped up with the muck rake. And there are times and places where this service is to be most needed of all the services that can be performed. The man who never does anything else, who never thinks, or speaks, or writes, save of his feats with the muck rake, speedily becomes not a help to society, not an incitement to good, but one of the most potent forces of evil. How would you refute this? I see you have a quote here that perfectly describes it.
Why, yes, I do. Bribery is no ordinary felony, but treason. Corruption which breaks out here and there and now and then is not an occasional offense, but a common practice. And the effect of it is to literally change the form of our government from one that is representative of the people to an oligarchy, representative of special interests and interracial violence.
Using a magic lantern, Reese shows his pictures to a wide audience.
People encounter Reese's images and sets in motion a dramatic change in public opinion, triggering one of the great movements of social reform in American history.
Thanks to Reese, many of the city's worst tenement buildings are torn down. A decade of improvements follows, with sewers, rubbish collection, and indoor plumbing.
So, now I'm here with Turtle Lee. Tell us about yourself, Turtle.
Even though I live in the sewers of New York, I support protecting workers against social Darwinism, just as my shell protects me from harm.
Beautiful. And now bring it in. This is a representative of the American Federation of Labor here.
Well, like Turtle Lee, we're also against the alliance between government and big business, as you can see with the Pullman strike, with the government authorized military force against us, and how we can see that the entire world is against us and our noble cause.
Beautiful. We all need shells.
In 1958.
Folks, here's a story about Minnie the Moocher. She was a low-down hoochie-coocher. She was Minnie had a heart as big as a whale. Heidi, 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 ho! Heidi, Heidi, Heidi.